What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. Oh no, Tyson. Oh, Fury fans, Tyson Scary fans are looking super silly right now, and their bonnets are super crispy right now from the YB and his generals. Yeah, 'cause you best believe over the last few days it's become clearly apparent the YB and his dons don't miss. And I'm not talking about his 100% 10 out of 10 confirmed sources. Yeah? We're talking about the accuracy of Manaman's bust on your faces right now, because it's full of it, and we ain't missing even a little bit. Yeah? You listen, you man stay catching the full nut, all the nut. Yeah? Oh, one of them ones, tip your head back ones. No doubt. Yeah? Listen, what do we know? Tyson Fury, as I've told you, man. Not even told you, man. Tyson Scary, as I've proven to you, man, over the last week. Since he came out with his lies about C-19 and proved himself to be, historically speaking, empirically speaking, statistically speaking, the scariest, goofiest, most shook heavyweight fighter. I'm not even going to call him a champion. He's not a champion. Because if the sport wasn't corrupt, if El Trapahan and the Shilalova cartel didn't have the WBC in their pocket, he wouldn't be champion, he'd be stripped. Because any logical governing body would have already stripped Tyson Scary. 100%. You went fought in 18 months, and then you want to extend it towards 2 years. You're gone. See you later. The belt would be, right now, yeah, if there wasn't corruption, it'd be Dillian White and Deontay Wilder. Or Deontay Wilder and AJ. That's what it'd be, 100%. But it's not. So Tyson Scary has proven himself to be the scary-looking artist champion, or a fake champion, or boxer. Just a boxer. It's the scariest boxer in history. He shook. And by the way, let me clear something up here, because people say, what do you mean Tyson Scary? For you man who don't know, scary essentially means scared. It doesn't mean people are fearful of him. Scary is a slang term for scared out of his boots. Yeah, scary is the ultimate. If someone's scary, they're super scary. Yeah? Tyson Scary is the scariest individual of them all. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the scariest of them all? You best believe it's Tyson Scary. He don't want no problems with no one. He'll do anything not to fight. And then he rocks onto his Instagram plug-in, trying to scam some more out of his fans. Seriously, Tyson Fury is one. I've got more videos coming soon, but Tyson Fury is one of the most greediest, I can't stand him. I really can't. I really can't stand him. He's a little weasel. He thinks he's proper hard as well. He thinks he's hard. He thinks he's all for the people. All he does is stay scamming you, man. He's just made a new crypto. No doubt MTK Tyrone will be shilling that soon. Oh yeah, look, MTK and Tyson Scary have got this new crypto. Let's buy it and let's lose some money together. Yeah, that's what's coming next. Tyson Scary plugging his crypto, trying to scam some more of you dons. What would a goofy looking ass boxer know anything about crypto? All he knows is put your money in so we can take his out, no doubt. My man's meant to be sick and he's plugging crypto. What? I thought you meant to be. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was touch and go. I thought Bob Arum and Fish Eyes were telling me about I just left the hospital. We weren't sure he was going to pull through, and that's what they was giving it, 100%. Fish Eyes Warren and Bob Arum were giving it all that. Oh, we're not sure if we're going to pull through. Anyway, let's get to the topic here today, because I've spent a long time going around in circles. End of the day, as I've explained, as we all know now, Tyson Scary came out last week alleging he had C-19. Alleging 10 men in his camp had it too. Joseph Parker was also, at the time initially, said to be one of the dons who is positive. 2-2s. The YB exclusively leaked the fact that Joseph Parker came out shortly after the initial allegations that Parker was positive, or Parker was one of the 10 who had it. Parker came out with his team and said, listen, I haven't got it. And essentially, Joseph Parker went on to say, in so many words, that Tyson Scary was lying and no one got it. Yeah? Reading between the lines, Joseph Parker came out and said, listen, I haven't got it. It's simple as that. Anyway, 2-2s now. Joseph Parker, I tried to tell you, man. I told you, man, that Joseph Parker was slyly exposing Tyson Scary. Next thing you know, Joseph Parker, who's just been in the camp with the most vicious, the most rarest, the most violent strain of C-19, which is the Tyson Scary strain. Yeah, it's a scary strain, the scary variant. This variant's super, what's the word? It's super spreader, yeah? People like super spreader. This one's called the uber spreader. The scary variant is an uber spreader, no doubt. It spreads like nothing, and it's super violent as well. When you get it, it just licks you down. Because you best believe, Tyson Scary needed 4 months off, so we know it must be real vicious, isn't it? Because footballers are coming back in 3 weeks. So for Tyson Scary to need 4 months, you best believe. Because and that's another thing. Not only is this new variant, not only is the new scary variant super potent, also it's a super uber spreader, because somehow 10 fully vaccinated dons got wiped out by it. Yeah? So we know it's super potent and super uber spreadable. So Mr. Joseph Parker, who is in camp with the super potent and a super uber spreader, where 10 man got licked down, he leaves that camp and says, oh, I haven't got it. Fine. Yeah, fine. 2-2s. 3 days later, 3 days after leaving a camp full of the new uber rare strain, uber super spreader strain, super potent, scary variant, Tyson Scary variant, yeah? He rocks up to UFC and turns all the way up, shouting, spitting, no mask on, going all the way in. Joseph Parker was going all the way in. So what does that mean? Well, what do we know? When you're associated with 10 men who have been confirmed to be licked down with the new super scary variant, which is super spreadable, super potent, what are we all supposed to be doing? Especially someone who's a public figure. You're supposed to be self-isolating. You're supposed to be self-quarantining. Now, it's one thing not self-quarantining, but imagine not, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna self-isolate, but what I will do is I'll kind of lay low. That's what most people would do, wouldn't it? My man Joseph Parker is so certain that that Tyson Scary in his camp didn't have a lick of anything to do with C-19. He goes to the UFC, which is the most, isn't it? If you had to pick one place, which would be the last place you should go if you've been truly exposed. I mean, to even if you've been exposed to a weak form, never mind the form that licks down 10 already vaccinated people, the super spreadable and super potent, never mind that, even if you've been around one person who's got it, even if you've been around one person, yeah, who's got the normal variant, which isn't super spreadable, which isn't super potent, you're supposed to sit your ass down somewhere and be quiet. Joseph Parker leaves the camp. Yeah? Joseph Parker leaves the camp. Listen, I'm hearing, no, do you know what of a lie? I'm hearing the Walking Dead directors, the Walking Dead scriptwriters are basically on the phone to Tyson Scary, asking him, yeah? Trying to get tips for the new season. No joke. They're trying to work out, you know what I'm saying? When they don't want, that's how, I'm hearing, that's how deadly it was in the camp. The Walking Dead, and you've got all these Netflix zombie movies, 100%. All these Netflix zombie movies are ringing up Tyson Scary, asking him about all the details. Because listen, yeah? The Hollywood virus movie dons haven't heard of how it went down in Tyson Scary's camp. You know what I'm saying? They're searching, they're trying to get some ideas from him. Because they can't quite believe. I mean, listen, we've all seen The Walking Dead. And not a bit of The Walking Dead sounds like what Tyson Scary dealing with. Yeah? 100%. So wait there a minute. Joseph Parker leaves The Walking Dead season 11. So wait there. What's that? Let's try and play this out a minute. So Joseph Parker is in the middle of The Walking Dead season 11 with Tyson Scary in camp. 100%. Joseph Parker's in the middle of season 11 of real life. That's another thing as well, to be fair. The Walking Dead's fiction. It's not real. My man Tyson Scary and Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker was in the thick of it. He was in season 11 of The Walking Dead, real life version. Yeah, whole bunch of zombie dons running around. 10 man, they said. 10 man had the super spreadable, super potent variant, no doubt. And they're starting to nickname it the Walking Dead season 11 variant. 100%. So you wait there. You left the real life Walking Dead season 11, and you went to. Just imagine that for a second. Seriously, can you imagine leaving the Walking? Or you know what I'm saying? You've just been bitten by a Walking Dead zombie. Where's the last place you should be going? The UFC event with 20,000 people with no. You know what I'm saying? All in close quarters. And Joseph Parker wasn't. He wasn't even just sitting there being quiet. He was shouting, spitting, all in the video. He was. What does that tell you? Even subconsciously, because with a little bit. Oh, that's another thing. He was taking pictures as well. So when we think about the subconscious nature of this, subconsciously, yeah, if you've really been around, if you've really been exposed to the things that Tyson Fury's camp are claiming, i.e. 10 people have got it and, oh, we need 6 months off because it's super potent. If Joseph Parker had genuinely been exposed to that, he'd be worried for his own safety and the people around him. He would genuinely have sat down somewhere. I'm not saying he would be 100% strict because I don't know him, but there's no way you'd rock up to UFC. And having said that, even more so, guess what? If you did go to the UFC, you best believe you'd be laying low, wouldn't you? Because you'd be thinking, wait a minute, I've just been around. Especially, this is the thing as well. This wasn't non-public information either. It's not like, well, no one knows that Fury's camp's been licked down. Joseph Parker, knowing these were the allegations, still took it upon himself to go there. And not only that, recorded it and posted it to socials. What this tells you is, this 100% confirms that Tyson Fury's been lying. Or that the Tyson Fury C-19 narrative, the Tyson Fury The Walking Dead real life season 11 narrative, yeah? The Walking Dead, Tyson Scary's season 11, The Walking Dead narrative is complete fake news. And he's made it up. Because like I said, subconsciously Joseph Parker, if he had been around all the things that Tyson Scary's camp are alleging, he wouldn't be doing the things he's doing. The fact Joseph Parker rocked up to the UFC and guess what? His actions are acting like what? His actions are acting like there's absolutely nothing has happened. And that's why he was so shocked when Joseph Parker started getting backlash for the photos. He took it down and panicked. Because he then realised, and that's the thing, this is the beauty, when you're high IQ, yeah, like the YB, no doubt, like, when you're high IQ, when you're super high IQ, like the YB and his dons, yeah, you see things from a different perspective. You're thinking about other people's actions. And Joseph Parker, when you look at his act, he's just acting like a man. All the things he was doing was as if everything's normal, but like everything's normal. And therein lies the point. Everything is normal. Do you understand? He hadn't been exposed to 10 people in his camp being let down. He hadn't been exposed to this super powerful, super spreader variant. Because if he had, all the chain of events just wouldn't have gone down like that. Or if they did, he wouldn't be acting like he is now, i.e. taking pictures down. Taking pictures down is kind of like him panicking. Oops, I think you know what I'm saying? He's not saying, for example, he could have doubled down and said, you know what, guys, truth is, I don't care about the C-19. Now that kind of reaction from Joseph Parker, because when the fans started getting on him, he retracted everything. Deleted all of his videos and whatnot. That shows us that he's panicking. He's panicking about the lie getting out. Because people initially you could conclude, oh well, maybe Joseph Parker just doesn't care about C-19, but both can't work together. One excuse could be there was The Walking Dead season 11 in Tyson Scary's camp, but Joseph Parker just didn't care and he was happy to take the risk and go to the UFC. But if that was the case, and he was just being blasé about it all, and there was really The Walking Dead season 11 in Tyson Fury's camp, why wouldn't he delete the pictures for? His personal reaction would have been, or more likely would have been, You know what, guys? Truth is, I don't care about C-19. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. See you, man, later. And this is the problem. We saw the same kind of stuff with Billy Ho Saunders. When you tell lies, you've got to have someone coordinating who's super intelligent, so you can work out all these steps ahead. You need someone who can see it, how it's going to play out days from now. Joseph Parker, make sure you sit down somewhere. Don't be, or not Joseph Parker. Everyone should have been briefed. Everyone, listen. We're saying everyone's got it, so everyone can't be seen at public events. We've all got to act as if. They weren't doing that. They didn't have no organisation, and that's what happens every time. Same as Billy Ho Saunders. With the whole hospital thing. There's no pictures, don't no one know about it. The hospital's never heard of Billy Ho. They're not thinking these things through. There's no evidence of anything. And it's just, I'm afraid to break it to you, man, but it's the same with Tyson Scary. There's no evidence of anything. No one, of the 10 people who have allegedly got it, guess what? A few, man, none of them have been named apart from Tyson Scary. Apart from the one person who's relevant, if that makes sense. Apart from the one person who essentially is needed for the Wilder vs Fury trilogy to happen. Isn't that convenient? Oh, 10 man have got it. It's The Walking Dead season 11. But we ain't gonna talk nothing about the other 9 people. Do you know why? Because they don't exist. There ain't 9 other people with it. And if they told you the names, then down the line, it just makes it's easier. It's even easier for them to be exposed. It's relatively manageable for Tyson Scary to carry on his own lie, and that's what's happened here with Joseph Parker. Like I said, it's easy for the person who it benefits to carry on the lie. Tyson Fury will lie for the rest of his life about how he had C-19, but Joseph Parker, who it doesn't benefit him. So unless you've got deep pockets or whatever else, this happens. I.e., your story starts to fall apart. When you try and run a conspiracy involving 15 people and you haven't paid them and you haven't briefed them all and they're not all on board, these things happen. Your storyline starts falling apart. So unless you've got a person who can understand how to run a conspiracy, who's 190 IQ and they can see how all the things are going to play out over time, you end up like this. You end up saying one thing on one day, and 4 days later, your whole narrative falls apart. This right here, Joseph Parker rocking to the UFC, taking pictures like nothing happened, and you know what I'm saying? Because the two don't follow. If Joseph Parker had just left The Walking Dead season 11 in Tyson Fury's camp, there's no way he'd be at the UFC. And if he was, he wouldn't be posting pictures bragging about it. This was a complete overlook on Joseph Parker's point of view. Because think about it, if you haven't experienced that, if you haven't been in a camp where everything was kicking off and everyone was sick, you would just go to the UFC, wouldn't you? You wouldn't put 2 and 2 together. Even if Joseph Parker likely saw, Tyson Fury's pulled out because of C-19, you wouldn't put 2 and 2 together, would you? All you'd think is, well, maybe he got it. Innit? You wouldn't think, wait a minute, what are the implications for me? Now, if it was real, and Joseph Parker was in the account when Tyson Fury had C-19, and there was 10 other people with it, Joseph Parker, 2 weeks or a week ago, he would have been experiencing real life things, like, I don't know, medical people or doctors around the camp, around Tyson Fury, saying to people around him, alright guys, you've been exposed. You see what I'm trying to say? That's what happens in real life. In real life, over the last week, Joseph Parker, if the C-19 was real, would have experienced these little things. His management would have been saying, okay, alright Joseph, you've been exposed. See what I'm saying? You'd have all these little conversations over time. And all of that information, seeing Fury go down, seeing him sick, seeing them people get it, having these conversations about whatever else, over time, they'd add up. And what it would end up with, Joseph Parker would never be at the UFC. Or better yet, if he was, he'd be being inconspicuous about it. Trying to lay low on purpose. But in reality, most likely, he wouldn't be there. Because all the conversations with everyone would have been edging towards isolation, for example. But guess what? There was no C-19 in the camp. Joseph Parker didn't have them conversations with doctors and with team managers and whatnot. about how to proceed. Joseph Parker's been sparring in the camp. Tyson Fury got bashed up a few times, and Parker's just left the camp. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happened here. He's just left the camp. For him, it's just another day in the office. Okay, we was all sparring and training together. Fury got bashed up a few times. I left the camp, and I'm going to the UFC. Parker plans to go to UFC for X amount of time, and then probably 2 days before he went to the UFC, or two days before he went to the UFC event, he sees on his phone, oh, Tyson Scary's got C-19. He ain't putting two and two together. He ain't realising how they've dragged him into the big conspiracy. Because it wasn't managed well. It wasn't managed from a holistic point of view. Where Parker should have been contacted. Parker, we're putting this big conspiracy thing out. Here's 100 grand. Sit down somewhere. Yeah? Play your part. Now listen, let me tell you, let me tell you, Shilaloa cartel dons. The YB ain't cheap. I'm happy to come in. If you want me to run, if you want your shill games to be run properly, because I know you've hired some consultants already. We know you're working with Tyrone Booth, but Tyrone Booth, he low IQ, he dopey. This dude will wee into a bottle on the screen. He a tramp, yeah. He a bottom feeder. He goofy, yeah. He ain't managing nothing, no doubt. So if you want to be managed properly. The YB ain't cheap though, you best believe. The YB ain't cheap, not even a little bit cheap. Yeah? You best get your hand in your pocket. Because this ain't going to be no MTK Tyrone thing. Yeah? This ain't going to be no Ben Shilvidson thing. Or no Coogie Bear thing. No Coogan Chilius. Yeah? Not going to be one of them ones. No doubt. Because you man are sloppy. And Joseph Parker, he messy. Oh, he deleting the pictures like... Do you not understand the internet? Joseph Parker thought by deleting his picture of him grinning teeth and coughing and shouting all over the place was going to get rid of the evidence. JP, you've been quite lacking. I'm also hearing that Joseph Parker essentially has exposed or was exposing Tyson Scary on purpose. It's one or the other. Now, I did actually report the other day that Joseph Parker went out of his way 2-3 days ago to differentiate himself and distance himself from the Tyson Fury claims. Because initially, MTK Fury put out, 10 people have got it, Tyson Scary is one of them, and Joseph Parker's another. That was the initial allegations. Joseph Parker came out about a day later and said, no, I don't have it. Which I after talking to some people within Parker's camp and confirming some details, was essentially told that Parker is distancing himself from this because it's not true. And it's not benefiting him to talk rubbish and lie. It's benefiting Tyson Scary. So Tyson Scary can live up to his namesake and stay scary and stay running and stay not fighting. Now, what this may have been, from what I'm hearing within Parker's camp, this was an extension of that. So initially Parker comes out and says, no, I'm not sick, they're lying. And now, essentially, because what can't happen? Parker can't come out. He can't come out and say, listen, the MTK cartel's lying, telling lies, and they're writing scripts for us all. But what he can do is, he can do what he did here. Do actions which are not blatant, if that makes sense. Because if he comes out and says, yeah, MTK running a big cartel shield scam, then Parker ended up missing somewhere. Yeah? That's what yeah? He'll end up missing, no doubt. But what he can do is rock up to the UFC event and say, oh, well, sorry guys, I didn't know. Do you know what I'm saying? One of them ones. One of them ones where you've got plausible deniability. Oh, sorry, my bad. Completely forgot. I didn't realise. Oh, no one told me that. I should have, you know what I'm saying? But even, obviously, he's got built-in plausible deniability to an extent, but ultimately, the cat's out the bag now. Because there's no way a man who's allegedly, according to MTK and Tyrone, or according to MTK and Tyson Scary, a man who just left The Walking Dead season 11 in real life would never put himself in the UFC taking pictures and smiling. And I think I'm gonna go with the one that this wasn't Joseph Parker just being sloppy. I believe Joseph Parker's essentially trying to scream out for help here. Yeah? He's trying to scream out to the fans. Fans, you know what I'm saying? Read between the lines here. And what's most sad about this is I told you it was all fake. No one wanted to listen. And now you've got Joseph Parker, the JP, who's scared out of his boots for being touched, and he's having to kind of do these actions which make things clear. Yeah, screaming. Parker's screaming out for help here, no doubt. He's screaming out for help, trying to expose Tyson Scary and the MTK El Trapahan. Yeah, Kinahan Trapahan, no doubt. But anyway, either way, whatever way it came out, it don't matter. We understand, Parker. We understand you can't come out and call a spade a spade. I know for a fact, I spoke to people within your camp, I know for a fact Joseph Parker would love nothing more to rock on IFL TV and say, listen, Coogan, you are working with a bunch of shill script writers. Fury never had nothing. He was getting his head boxed off in sparring, that's it. And he didn't want no more from Wilder. Bottom line, I know you're begging to do that, but this is better than nothing. Because many other dons, them other 10 dons in Fury's camp have said nothing. They've sat there and they've just grabbed their ankles. And Tyson Scary has been stroking them from the back. Yeah, no doubt. 100%. You weren't happy. You weren't fixing to grab your ankles and get stroked from behind. Instead, you came out and you thought, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and just grab my ankles here. I'm going to the UFC. And let's see how their house of cards holds up when the big narrative falls apart. Because Parker started off by telling us, no, I'm not with them, man. Because initially, them man tried to drag him in. Them man said, oh yeah, Parker got it too. Trying to use his name for credibility. I swear to God, you can see it yourself. Initially, they dragged Parker in. Tried to drag him down with them. Parker jumped off that train. And this was the ultimate jump off the train move. Because Fury thought he was smart. Because normally, Fury would have been at this event. 100%. Normally, Fury would have been at this event. He's been going to all of the events. But Fury thought, oh, well, I'm meant to be 6. I'll lay low. Parker went straight there. Shouting, screaming, doing all the videos. Doing everything you shouldn't be doing. 100%. So, well done, Parker. Hats off to you. Yeah? MTK, Trapahan, Tyson Scary, you've been bigly exposed. You ain't even a bit sick. You're just a lying fraud. That's what you are. A big bubbly fraud. Yeah? That's what you are. You're a fraud. I've already called you. I've already not called you, sorry. We've already worked out what you are. You are, historically speaking, the scariest fighter in history. There's never been a fighter as shook to the core as Tyson Scary. Seriously. He's just shook to bits. He talks about anxiety a lot, and for a while I didn't believe him, but I actually get it now. He is full of anxiety. He has not anxiety about, oh, I don't feel well, and no. He has anxiety. He's shook 24/7 about getting his wig pushed back. That's what it is. Nothing to do with mental health and depression, no. You're just shook to bits of AJ and whoever else pushing your wig right in for you. That's what it is, 100%. Yeah? No doubt.